We invite you to watch how we clear the views on all matters through our partner station MITV on DSTV channel 255, 7 p.m. daily, and also our YouTube and Facebook pages under one name, Clearview News Desk every day. We call it The People's News, as we are available to come over and cover your events upon notice. Or do you have news you want us to broadcast? Send it in. We verify and go to town with it. All for you. Go ahead, engage us to thrash out those naughty issues on the news. And what we need from you is to share and subscribe. More important, convince your loved ones, friends, relatives, co-worshippers, and more to subscribe so as to be getting notifications as we break the news. Go a step further, like the news, and drop your thoughts on the comment section. Clearview News. We clear the view one time and for all time.
Hello and welcome to Clearview News Desk. We're reaching you live from Nigeria's capital city, Abuja. First, the headlines. While slamming President Tinubu's broadcast on protests, Nobel laureate Wole Soyinka condemns use of lethal force to quell and hunger protests across Nigeria, saying, "They ask for bread, you are giving them bullets." Amid Nigeria's ongoing protests, demonstrators wave Russian flags, sparking concerns about potential Russian interference. Don't disrespect the Naira, Bobrisky advises citizens after release from prison for mutilating Naira notes. I am Florence Joshua with these and more. Popular cross-dresser Idris Okuneye, popularly known as Bobrisky, has warned against abuse of the Naira following release from prison. Recall that the EFCC had on April 5th secured the conviction of Bobrisky for mutilating Naira notes, as the social media celebrity was charged by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) on 4 counts bordering on Naira abuse. Following his release, Okuneye, in an interview, cautioned Nigerians against abusing the Naira in order to avoid ending up in prison. He said, "You have to follow the rules and abide by the laws. Don't spray money or you will become a landlord in Kirikiri. It's not just about killing or any criminal activities that can bring you to prison. Something as light as spraying of Naira can take you there. I am only focusing on good energy right now, on people who were there for me, like my friends. You see, any other person I'm not interested in. So I don't want to talk about them. I'm really grateful to my friends and loved ones," Bobrisky added. In defiance of President Tinubu's speech, Niger State residents are demanding a return of subsidies, saying the speech was not convincing enough. We also have reactions from Gombe, where protests are fading away, and Lagos, where the Commissioner of Police was quoted as saying the protest has ended. He has, however, come out to deny ever saying so.
Okay, the government should bring back the subsidy so that the price of food item now and the price of things in the market will be normal. It's not helping us at all. It's not helping us. We are not finding it funny. That is just it.
The issue of the subsidy, when you look at it now, how can I buy a petrol 1,000 naira in my own country? Okay, the subsidy they have removed, what are they doing with that money? It has no breakdown to the masses. If it have effects on the society, there will not be need for protest. But hijacking it and taking advantage of it to suffer the fellow citizen is what I didn't support. So I think government should come in the rescue of this thing, and those that are protesting should look at it that there is no way to protest, to loot people, to kill people and destroy places. Like now some state has coffee. That is not the best thing, to put people indoor for some days. We don't know when this will be resolved.
The issue of protest, I support it because the government might not know that we are angry. of what is really going on. Because then I don't think it affects them the way it's affecting us, the normal people. So I'm in support of it. But at the same time, protest in a nation, it slows down the economy. I don't know, it brings down the gross domestic product of the economy.
Appreciating our governor's efforts that he has deployed some of the security personnel to most of the nearby junction of the market. But with that in mind, that we are able to open up our shops.
After 2 days, they suffer for Gombe. We are suffer too much because this thing where they do say no movement, everybody there for a house, everybody they suffer for hungry. Now say for the hungry, that is why I come say I want buy corn 15 naira, I no get money. I say I want buy corn 15 naira so that may I eat small. Me say if I dey just sell my medicine small, I want to go inside, may I hold my belly, carry chop small corn before I go intermarket, they sell my business small.
There will be no more gathering here or anywhere. Any of such gathering is unlawful and illegal. And if such gathering exists, we are going to apply the full weight of the law. Yes, because we came normally to do what we have been doing since the past 3 days. And since it has been called off, we will withdraw and we keep skeletal presence of men here so that they will not allow anybody to gather here or try to. Any gathering here from this moment is unlawful.
When we refused to go, they brought hoodlums and they started chasing us. We were running up and down. It was just that some of us refused to leave and we came back. And we've been here since. They said that we were told that one of the protesters has been arrested. I don't know why they did it. The police officers did not do anything to help peaceful protesters when hoodlums were attacking them.
Nigerians are hungry. Families are strained. Some of these policies are impacting on our daily lives. People are withdrawing their kids from school. These are the fundamental issues that I wanted the president to speak to by saying, yes, we as Nigerians are facing problems, and together as citizens we will solve this problem, and not just begin to double speak. You know, in one paragraph, the president recognized the fact that it's the rights of Nigerians to protest, and then in another paragraph, we are trying to blame them, and then saying, okay, it was politically motivated. I think that, to me, gives a lot, lots to be desired.
You're the president. You can do a lot of things that will affect Nigerians' lives positively. Do you understand? We're tired. It's one issue after another. It's almost as if as you're recovering from one, another, like 10 more hitting you. It's not nice. There's one thing I want to say, please, before I leave here. The senators, the House of Reps members, all of them, they are our leaders, right? And they want us to make sacrifice. I'm sure Nigerians are ready to make sacrifice. But start with yourself. Lead by example. Cut the cost of governance.
Me, I just came to Lagos 2 years ago, and I've not been able to even pay my own house rent. And I'm a banker. Imagine a banker saying she cannot pay her own house rent. Tell me what an ordinary person that is not even working, how the person can be able to pay his or her own house rent.
Nobel laureate Wole Soyinka has criticized President Bola Tinubu's Sunday broadcast for failing to address security agencies' use of lethal force to end hunger protests across Nigeria, which began last Thursday. Soyinka, 90, a close ally of President Tinubu, said the refusal of the president to address matters in his speech was an endorsement and empowering the security agencies to continue towing the path of impunity. Police and SSS operatives fire live ammunition at journalists hanging around the Moshood Abiola National Stadium, Abuja, to cover the protests shortly after noon on Saturday. Reports say more than 40 people have been killed since Thursday across Nigeria, with dozens injured. The scholar further added that the nation was long overdue to abandon permanently, describing the use of lethal force by security agencies as old-fashioned. following President Bola Tinubu's nationwide broadcast on Sunday. The ongoing protests and civil unrest across various states in the country, civil society organizations under the aegis of Speak Out Africa initiative are calling for a live interview with the president. In a press statement signed by the lead director of the group, Kenneth Eze, said a direct engagement with Nigerians will be a significant step towards resolving the current unrest and restoring faith in the current administration. While acknowledging the president's efforts to engage with citizens and address their concerns, the group noted that Tinubu's speech failed to quell the anxieties of many Nigerians as it lacked specific timelines for the proposed actions and did not directly address the core issues raised by the protesters. Similarly, a popular journalist in a post on his X handle faulted the president's speech, describing it as full of same promises with little or no execution. He further called on President Tinubu to grant an hour-long interview so Nigerians can test his understanding of critical issues of national interest. One day after President Tinubu's broadcast on the End Bad Government protests, which began on August 1, protesters have continued to protest in various parts of the country, expressing disappointment and dissatisfaction with the president's speech. Some protesters said the speech read by the president falls short of the expectations of many Nigerians who were hopeful the president would speak about ways of addressing key issues contained in the demands made by the protesters. They said they had listened with rapt attention to President Tinubu's broadcast on Sunday and considered it rather unfortunate that it took President 3 days of protest to address the country. Amid Nigeria's End Bad Governance ongoing protests, some demonstrators have waved Russian flags, sparking concerns about potential Russia interference. However, a journalist identified as Ali Udairu believes the flags represent anti-Western sentiments and discontent with neoliberal economic policies rather than support for Russia. However, the sighting of Russian flags has raised alarm among some Nigerians, including public commentators who are calling for authorities to monitor the situation and take necessary precautions. Meanwhile, notable protests ongoing in Africa's most populous nation stemmed from its growing economic hardship. Russia has denied its involvement in the trajectory of the protests. Press Secretary of the Russian Embassy in Nigeria said the Russian Embassy in Nigeria does not have any information about any group of protesters using the Russian flag or the state symbols of the country, adding that even if such incident did occur, it would be the decision of individuals. We wondered why the protesters might be using Russian flags. At Clearview News Desk, we believe that the sight of protesters in Kano State and other states in Nigeria waving Russian flags and calling on President Vladimir Putin to intervene during the End Bad Governance protests have several implications, both domestically and internationally. The act to us signifies a deep sense of frustration and delusionment with the Nigerian government. It suggests that the protests feel their grievances are not being addressed by their own leaders and are looking externally for support. Waving Russian flags could be a symbolic gesture to express a desire for strong leadership, as President Putin is often perceived as a decisive and authoritative figure. This might reflect a yearning for more robust governance in Nigeria. Also, the move could indicate a segment of the population that is open to foreign influence or intervention, which might be concerning for national sovereignty and unity. This act could also be interpreted as an invitation for Russia to increase its influence in Nigeria, a country that has traditionally been within the sphere of Western influence, particularly the United States and former colonial power, the United Kingdom. Such actions could strain Nigeria's relationship with Western countries, as it may be seen as a pivot towards Russia. This could have broader implications for international aid, trade and diplomatic support. Finally, if Russia were to respond positively to this cause, it could lead to increased geopolitical competition in the region. Russia might see this as an opportunity to expand its influence in Africa, similarly to its involvement in other African countries. If you're just joining us, you're watching the news on Clearview News Desk. We will be back after this break. Stay with us. In faith, there is enough light for those who want to believe and enough shadows to blind those who don't. Welcome back. Nigeria, Africa's most populous country, is currently facing its biggest economic crisis in decades, with the number of impoverished citizens on the rise. The pressure from the current hardship has led to an increase in depression, which is often marked by mood swings, intense sadness, anxiety, and loss of interest, among others. In recent times, the country has witnessed a tremendous rise in the number of suicide cases, and studies have linked depression as the leading cause. According to Angela Brown, a nurse, life coach, and motivational speaker, in an exclusive interview with Clearview News' Gloria Atta, it is possible to overcome depression with the right information and effective collaboration from all stakeholders to address the growing issue. The report.
The crisis of mental illness across the world is on the increase, rapidly affecting the society and putting a heavy burden on the healthcare systems. Mental health issues are widespread in every society and country across every continent. At least 1 in 4 people are affected by mental illness at some point in their lives, with women more likely than men to be diagnosed. Data from the World Health Organization shows that 1 in every 8 people in the world live with a mental disorder, which involves significant disturbances in thinking, emotional regulation, or behavior of an individual. A significant number of the population, as much as 70%, do not receive treatment for mental illness due to lack of resources, trained health workers, and in many cases, the social stigma around mental health care. In Nigeria, the case is no different, as about 25 to 30% of citizens suffer from mental illnesses, and less than 10% of this population have access to professional assistance. The World Health Organization estimates that only about 3% of the government's budget on health goes to mental health. Decrying the situation in an interview with Clearview News Desk, Angela Brown, a nurse, life coach, and motivational speaker, said the disparity between the demand and supply of mental health services, as well as lack of policies and information aimed at addressing mental health issues in Nigeria, have made it difficult to identify areas of needs, coordinate activities of advocacy groups, and make an informed decision about policy direction.
It's really sad because in Nigeria we really don't have adequate mental health treatment. You know, the last lunacy law was just remodeled, was just redone like 2 years ago. But before, it was the lunacy law from 1950s, you know. So we're making baby steps, but we haven't gotten to where we need to go. And I really urge Nigeria, the lawmakers, to please find a way to tackle this mental health. There's a lot of suicides going on in Nigeria. As of 2017, Nigeria, I think, was ranked 3rd in the world, if I'm right. I'm not very clear on it, but I think that's what it was. There are many unreported deaths from depression and suicide. You know, we don't have enough resources. The doctors don't even know what to do. There are limited psychologists. You know, therapy is a joke here, and we really need to work on it. The facilities, majority of them are non-existent. Mental health is just emerging, okay? They're non-existent. We have a couple of resources. We also have a lot of NGOs that, quote unquote, act like they are doing mental health, but they really are not.
She also advocates for more action from government and relevant stakeholders in improving Nigeria's mental health sector so as to address the growing mental health issues in the country.
Mental illness is usually genetic or trauma-induced, okay? So when we're talking about mental illness now, we're talking about things like anxiety disorder, schizophrenia, compulsive obsessive disorders, bipolar. Those are all mental illnesses, and they're usually genetic, and sometimes they could be caused by trauma or other underlying things like drug abuse, So people need to understand that. And we really don't take into cognizance that mental health is a problem in this country. Because we really need to understand that if you're not in the right headspace, you can't give what you don't have. And a lot of us are going through issues. And because of the stigma associated with mental health, nobody really pays attention. So we need to create a lot of awareness and understand what you can look for, okay? Like, somebody that is having a lot of anxiety all the time, not related to anything, reach out, speak to your practitioner, your doctor, or talk to a therapist and see what's going on. Because through that, we may find out what's going on or able to diagnose and help you out. Somebody that is bipolar may not even understand that they're bipolar. Their friends may be jokingly say, oh, you're bipolar, because of the changes in the moods and the changes in behavior. And when you have those changes, you can explain why. Seek the attention of a therapist or a medical physician to kind of help you. And if you're feeling really bad, don't ignore it. Forget about the stigma associated with mental health. The time is now to reach out, talk about it, have the conversation, and take care of you.
Mental health care generally refers to services ranging from assessment, diagnosis, treatment to counseling, dedicated to maintaining and restoring mental well-being of people. Angela Brown therefore urged citizens to be more vocal about their mental health challenges and seek care when necessary. Gloria Atta, reporting for Clearview News.
The National Day of Homage to Victims of Genocide and Conflict-Related Sexual Violence in DR Congo was commemorated on August 2nd, while marking the Genocide Memorial Day. Democratic Republic of Congo's ambassador to Nigeria emphasized the need for international recognition of the genocide, which led to over 10 million deaths and 2 million internally displaced persons. The report. The Democratic Republic of Congo (DRC) has endured a tumultuous recent history marked by two devastating wars since 1996. The first war was sparked by the 1999 Rwandan genocide, while the second, beginning in 1998, involved multiple countries and militias, resulting in an estimated 5.4 million deaths between 1998 and 2007, largely due to preventable diseases and infrastructural collapse. Despite progress, the DRC's government continues to struggle with basic security, transparency, and accountability. Corruption, poverty, and underdevelopment and ethnic tension persist, hindering the country's ability to effectively manage its resources and wealth. The ambassador traced the roots of the genocide to colonial times, highlighting the role of neighboring countries in perpetuating the violence, while criticizing the international community for its indifference and hypocrisy in the face of the atrocity.
So today, being 2nd of August, is the day set aside by the government of the Democratic Republic of the Congo to commemorate victims who have died based on the war and conflict in the eastern parts of the country caused by the rebels M23 and other militants. And this has caused so much pain in the country, because we have more than 10 million people who have died in the course of this conflict. And we also have more than 10 million displaced people who are now homeless. They are living in a very difficult situation. And we set aside this day to commemorate and to call on the international community to come and intervene and make sure that the country regain its peace and stability. Because what is happening now, it is not a drama, it is not an adventure, but it is real. People are suffering, people are dying. So we want the international community to really put effort together with the government to be able to regain peace and stability in the country.
The Genocide anniversary marks the start of a long and arduous march of suffering for the Congolese people, culminating in the clashes between Uganda and Rwanda armies on Congolese soil in 1998. The ambassador called for reparations for damages and sanctions against the perpetrators, citing documented UN reports. The DRC ambassador emphasized the need for collective memory and honor for the victims, urging the international community to recognize the genocide in the same way as others known worldwide. Florence Joshua reporting for Clearview News Desk. And that's the news, but before we go, a recap of the top stories. Nobel laureate Wole Soyinka has criticized President Bola Tinubu's Sunday broadcast for failing to address security agencies' use of lethal force to quell and hunger protests across Nigeria. Authorities have been called upon to take necessary precaution as pictures of protesters waving Russian flags in the ongoing hunger protests flood the media space. Popular cross-dresser Idris Okunaye, otherwise known as Bobrisky, has warned against abuse of the naira following his release from prison. Recall that the EFCC had on April 5th secured the conviction of Bobrisky for mutilating naira notes. You can follow up on latest events and happenings around you via social media platforms on Facebook, Instagram and YouTube at Clearview News Desk or via our handle on X, formerly known as Twitter at Clearview Online. Many thanks for watching. I am Florence Joshua. Bye for now.